All right, welcome from a flame-induced sabbatical on the West Coast. Back to good to geek out, good to go. We are back to finish off Transformers Siege. Last two episodes, 5 and 6. Editor, San Antonio. Where did you talk to with these guys? Great two episodes. Let's do it.
Omar from Gardena, Carson adjacent. These are my two favorite episodes, so I've been waiting. I'm ready for this.
Greg stepping in from West Hills. I love some of the street elements of Cybertron that get introduced in these episodes, and I'm all for it. I can't wait.
Boba Fresh Rob from San Francisco, super excited to hop on the arc.
Hey, Rob Lucy coming at you from burned out Phoenix, Oregon, but excited to be back with a group of friends here discussing Transformers War for Cybertron. Interestingly enough, my two least favorite episodes.
Oh, wow.
So excited.
Yeah, I love it.
Excited to hear the opinions
Phoenix,
here.
Oregon burning. There will be someone rising from the ashes.
Rising from the ashes. We're hoping we're rising from the ashes. Well, that's a whole nother conversation, what's going on around here. But anyway.
All right. On that note, episode 5 kind of starts off with the whole Ultra Magnus code sent to Bumblebee and Soundwave, trying to find where it went. We also get a little hint of Shockwave and his shadiness that is accepted by Megatron.
He went full facade.
Yeah. Another one of your secret experiments, I believe is what he says. But since it's working in his favor, what does Megatron care? He's sliding to oblivion anyway. What you guys think? Anything beginning of the episode that stood out to you?
Like I said, he went full Decide, like Darkseid's evil scientist. Like, I mean, come on, you got the man hanging up, he hanging up in the rafters. And it was just like, okay, so we went from that's the homie to he hanging up in the rafters. But that's how you saw the difference. I love the difference that's when you realize the difference of what Shockwave was. He's not super powerful, but he probably is the smartest and he's a mad scientist.
Oh, he introduced Bumblebee's plug. Bumblebee had a plug. His plug was Sound Blaster, and you find out that Sound Blaster was a failed clone experiment of
Shockwave.
Shockwave.
No,
Soundwave.
And then when he said that, I was like, that's super dope. And you got, Sound Blaster sitting up on his little throne and stuff, Like, it made me think of King Joffrey Joffrey sitting up there with the things in the back, right?
Are we ready to go super deep?
Yeah.
Because this whole last two episodes, which is why I was so geeked out, was straight Star Wars, or it was more Return of the Jedi, because he was Jabba the Hutt.
For sure.
I mean, they even had a speeder in the episode. Yeah. Like we was on Tatooine, and like this, they straight was swagger jacking Return of the Jedi the whole episode. Megatron even had a Emperor Palpatine moment, like when he was talking about with the how the Death Star was fully operational when he found out where the Ark was and how he started talking. Like this whole last two episodes was straight Return of the Jedi. I was geeked out about it.
This fool
I think that that's a
dash of energon though.
I think that's a solid observation. Like this was a great Act 3, and part of doing a solid Act 3 was introducing a third faction and having like a third side, which is cool because on the back end, it kind of reminded us that Bumblebee started out as this outsider, and we see Bumblebee integrating himself more into the cause and being more beholden to the idea and not just the quick hustle of it all. And so it's cool the way that these little seeds are starting to be really reaped so early. Like this is something that they could have done. They could have drugged this out 2 seasons, like the fact that they made such a concise story, they turned it into, like you're pointing out, a space fantasy opera. Like it went like 3 and 4, I felt was more Mad Max hardcore, like people impaled on spikes, shit like that. And like this one really kind of took that move into being like grand. Like we saw how big this world was going to be, and that in fact it was going to get off this world. But we already know it's getting off this world, so we're filling in the unwritten pages in our minds because we already know where it's going. What do you think, Lucy?
Well, it's interesting. We have the knowledge that we know they're going to make it off planet, but during the episode, Prime is still willing to risk Cybertron to get the spark of life off planet, and Megatron has gone. He is no longer willing to compromise. He's willing to wipe the minds of every Autobot on the planet and reprogram them, which I thought was great. And I really did enjoy the beginning of this episode with Sound Blaster and the little Easter eggs, if you will, about the failed remake of Soundwave. And then they go into the Sea of Rust, and Jetfire is able to prove himself loyal to the Autobot cause. I kind of lost. I was.
Why can he navigate
with the zombie robots around the Spark of Life? I thought that was unnecessary, and I thought they could have filled that time a little bit better. And I've watched
that Karnak scene.
I had three. Yeah, I had three whys to the the episode, and that was definitely one of them.
Yeah,
why can Jetfire navigate
the
Sea of
zombie
Rust?
robots is my question.
Why
Greg,
the zombie
what is
robots?
your theory on that? Are you still up in the air on why they had to do zombie robots?
That was weird.
I don't know. I just, like I said, I was stuck on, like, when he was like, yeah, I can navigate the Sea of Rust. I'm like, why? Why?
It seems like even the writers kind of knew that this was a stupid thing, because if you notice, Prowl and Alita sigh a lot when decisions are being made.
Yeah.
If you're a robot, sigh.
Exactly.
They know what the fuck, that's the writer.
My man Jetfire went full Suicide Squad with the bomb in his head.
Bro, so that was, all right, so anyway, that was one of my whys. We'll get to the others as we progress through this.
Any ideas about what that symbol was on Sound Blaster before we jump off him? That wasn't Autobot or Decepticon.
No, I don't.
No, I enjoyed seeing that symbol. It's something outside of the two factions.
Yeah.
It was Jedi. No.
What about Chromia getting ripped apart?
That was mean. That was my girl. She was nice. Like, why Chromie ain't did nothing, y'all.
It lets you know episode 6 is about to get into some shit, right?
Yeah, but they replaced her immediately, which brings me to my second why. Where the frick did RC come from? How all of a sudden she just show up? Because I don't even remember. In one of our earlier talks, I talked about the fact that they had Chromia and the other female Autobot, and I was like, well, where's RC? Wasn't RC around? Like,
Chromia was the Cup clone, right? The female Cup clone.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kept asking, well, where's RC? Where's RC? Out of nowhere, RC shows up in the episode. I'm like, okay, all right, there she is. Where did she come from? Where was she all this time?
One why I have, and it's not just on this. It's just how Optimus Prime has always been treated, and that's the one big problem I've always had with Transformers was how they treat him just for plot to move the plot along. Is they make Optimus Prime weak just so he can be strong later. It's like, why can't, it doesn't make sense. Like, he's trying to climb up the wall and he can barely hold on, but he can throw the spark, out the gravity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Raldus Chapman, that bitch way out
that thing has always bothered me, how they treat Optimus like that. He's weak most of the time and only strong when their back is against the wall. Like, why does he get stronger when that happens?
Yeah, all of a sudden he got his ass whooped earlier in the episode, and you watch it and you're like, later on, all of a sudden he's a G and he pulls a sword out of somewhere. I'm like, where was the sword earlier?
Speaking of swords, my boy Jetfire.
Yeah, that was gonna be the segue.
Which looks like a lightsaber again.
Well, Lucy or Straughter, what did you think about that splash page we obviously saw with Prime and the Allspark? That was such a comic book splash page, him throwing it, reaching for it, and all that shit.
Yeah, again, leading up to it with the whole zombies thing, I'm like, they could have led into that. Maybe just as a plot device, is they're using it. Like, we need our Indiana Jones style, Crystal Skull. We need to get through something else.
Crystal Skull out of all the Indiana
Hated that movie.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
It was meant to be an insult. I know what he means.
Oh my gosh.
For the All-Spark.
I think it's interesting because it looked to me like they were. It's like they were making the cartoon Inhumans, and they already knew they were getting canceled before they even fucking were coming out, and they're just like, do whatever, man. And so like every trope that's popular, and that's why I think zombies are almost thrown in with this like wink. They're like, we're throwing everything in plus the kitchen sink that like people find
Cool.
sellable, what's marketable, and they gave us absolutely everything. And so by the time that splash page point comes, you're just like, all right, cool, like you're doing it. Like, because also at the end when the arc like starts shooting things, I was like, this looks like Robotech.
Exactly.
I was like, y'all just doing
exactly like Robotech.
They're just going rah, rah, like they're just taking everything.
They throwing in every reference they know a geek is gonna like.
Right. I mean, but how intelligent is that, right?
Okay, but all that said, you still don't like it, Lucy. You didn't even like the when Jeff.
I'm not saying I'm saying okay. I'm not saying I hated these things or the episodes. I'm saying it's my least favorite two episodes. And based on what we're talking about, it got very cliche. And and I'm not hating on people who are geeking out on it. For me, the first 4 episodes, moved it along, and then they just started pounding the cliches into the last 2 episodes. And some of them worked out really well. But for me, some of them did not.
One nice side note was hearing Teletran 1 activate.
Yeah.
That was a great little nod. That made me smile every time, and I watched it like 4 or 5 times. What about Impactor saving Ratchet? That's a moment. That's a moment right there, man. That's a fucking great moment. Like we were talking about on the other episodes about what's an Autobot, what's a Decepticon, who's good, who's bad, evil, what's right, what's wrong. Like that was a perfect scene to throw you off a little more, make you think.
And then
I think it's good too, because when you end up thinking about this idea of good and evil, like, are you programmed? This idea of predeterminism and duty, like, like are Decepticons bound to be evil? Are Autobots bound to be good? Because Optimus Prime is fucking slipping, right? Like his passion to be good has made his actions fall into the questionable morality zone. So the fact that they end up entering again these third factions with Sound Blaster, you end up having Impactor who's changing sides. So you have Jetfire is obviously making his big transition. So you have so much dynamic movement. Starscream is moving up with his consolidation of his ideology.
Bumblebee,
I will say that I think
Bumblebee remains resistant to being any sort of a partisan.
Exactly.
Megatron had his Frederick Douglass speech about oppressors.
Yeah. I mean,
but as far as like the finality of Autobots and Decepticons being either good or evil, going back to episodes 3 and 4, we find out that the Decepticons actually liberated, the Autobots or the people that were servants hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So yeah, it's a more valuable thing, and to get into.
But that gets into the concept of what is a rebellion. What makes the rebel the rebel?
Exactly.
Like the Decepticons upsetting the system, is that good? Because as far as the people who are in charge are concerned, that's bad. Like the pharaohs back in the day were like, no, God determined that I have to have money. If I don't have money,
anybody ever been to London? Anybody ever been to London?
Yeah.
You know what they call us? The rebels. They still call us the rebels, right? So good and evil is based on what your perception is, or where you were filming from, right? Because in England's eyes, we were the bad guys,
and it's not going to change.
Yeah.
Episode 6, that was the juxtaposition. Say the word for me.
Juxtaposition.
I was not gonna say it right. Between Prime and Megatron, because
leave that in, please.
That was the speech when Megatron started speaking about he freed the slave class and took off the chain of the oppressors. And then Prime was like, you could have been our greatest leader. And like, there's like, they are viewing this from two different ways. And because Prime was like, okay, I get what you're saying, but you killed Alpha Trion. At that point, all bets are off. And
Right.
Megatron was like, nah, he had to go. So,
but it also comes down to your like point, like, so what is Optimus fighting for? Like,
he killed
like,
them.
no, in the sense of like, if Megatron has upset the sense of balance, and that's what's driven this part of the rebellion, what is Optimus fighting for? Because he's asking for peace, but he's not brokering anything. He wants the Decepticons to still seem to serve in some kind of subservient slave position.
I see it differently, because in the beginning they were still talking about to all are one. And I feel like they were literally two flips of the coin, of the other side of the coin. And because of things that happened, they went farther away and they both dug in to where they
Megatron's people believe in him more than Optimus's people believe in him.
Which is crazy. Because what Optimus sees Megatron's vision. Okay, and although Megatron's vision is presented as one of a liberated society without, any attachments to the oppressor, Optimus sees that what he's going to do is take that and use it to be controlling of the system. So Optimus is seeing past what other people are seeing. Other people are seeing the micro, and Optimus is seeing the macro. He's like, okay, okay. What he's saying now all sounds great, but I'm telling you, once we all give in to what Megatron wants, then you are all going to be slaves again. And so he's like, instead of seeing that, I don't care if I'm seen as a bad guy, while I'm going to fight for what I know to be bad in the future. I'm going to try to prevent it now, even though right now it may make me look like the bad guy.
All right. What about one of my favorite scenes, or my favorite scene? Well, up there with Sound Blaster, but what was it? A Mega Prime or a
Mega Supreme?
A Mega Supreme, just like coming up.
I was going to
like putting his foot down on everybody, and then Megatron was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "No, I haven't chosen." And like the old ones, I'm fighting for myself here. But just him coming up and just wrecking stuff.
That's kind of my point. If there is a litmus test, it's the Sentinel rising up to defend the Autobots. So that kind of is, if they're technically godlike or neutral creatures on this planet, for one to rise up and defend the Autobots means that Optimus is probably right.
I think you make a good point. I also feel that was the ultimate, oh, y'all are really throwing in the back dirty kitchen sink, like the laundry sink. Like, they were like, we don't know if we're coming back. They like literally, like, he just came out. I was like, it was an amazing scene. The graphics, the enormity, the weight and the massiveness of everything. It was, it was a great, again, Millennium Falcon, Death Star run salvation situation, and they're just hitting every button, like 1, 2, 3, like just down the list.
That's kind of the point of animation. You can do what you want. Might as well throw it all in.
Yeah.
So what do they have left for going forward?
Well, I don't know, but the political scientist in me loves the fact that you had all of these multiple parties, right? We got to see Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Green. You got to see all of these on Cybertron, and people coming from multiple angles, because once they hit Earth, apparently only the Democrats and the Republicans survive. Right? Because there's only and you are one or the other, and you've always been one or the other. So
that's a great
one of the great things about this is you get to see all of the different factions, all of the different sides. And eventually, like I said, they have to end up choosing a party later, but for right now, you get to see that development. And even though it does include the back laundry sink, it was, to me, that was awesome.
They've tried to remix the Transformers for the last 15 plus 20 plus years, probably 30 plus years, and this is the first Transformers remix or redux, whatever you want to call it, that I've really been excited about it and I've enjoyed.
Agreed.
So I'm looking forward to more coming down the pipeline for sure.
All right. On that note, can't wait for the next installment. We get to see some new characters, and Quintesson seemed to be one. Pretty excited about that. Editor, San Antonio, signing out. Rolled out.
Omar from Gardena, and I'm out.
Hey, Greg, West Hills, Cali. Hey.
Robbie Ramjet from San Francisco. Conehead out. Seek you later.
Rob Lucy rising from the ashes of Phoenix, Oregon. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe. Let's hear what you guys' opinions are as well.